Okay, Tom, you're all set to begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Barnstable Conservation Commission's hearing on August the 11th, 2026. I would like to ask Bill to do a roll call for the quorum purpose.
Okay, Abadili.
Present.
DeMello.
Present.
Hearn, present. Kashulik.
Present.
Lee.
Present.
Sampu.
Present.
Tangney.
Present.
Administrator Ed Hoops.
Present.
Kim Kavanaugh. Staff member Kim Kavanaugh is frozen. We see her. And Agent Brady Hill.
Present.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Acting under the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and or Chapter 237 of the Code of the Town of Barnstable, the Barnstable Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, August 11th, 2026 at 3 p.m. for the applications of Tanya, Daniel, Stephen Robinson, Keith McManus, Mark Al, and Catherine Gingrich Bryans, Senator Lakeville's Trust. This hearing is being recorded and broadcast on the Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. The plans and application are on file and may be reviewed by scheduling appointments by sending email requests to @hoops@230 South Street, Hyannis. In accordance with the Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20, please let the chair know if anyone is recording this hearing. Hearing none. This afternoon's hearing agenda is posted on the town's website. On the agenda, next to each application is the amount owed to the Town of Barnstable for the cost of advertisement. Please send your check to the Conservation Division at 230 South Street before the hearing. The Conservation Commission public hearing will be held by remotely participation as a result of an emergency order signed by the Governor on March 28, 2025, suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law. Remote participations. The Conservation's public hearing will be held by remote participation as a result of an emergency signed by the Governor on March 20th. I repeat that already. Remote public access to this hearing shall be provided in the following manner. The hearing will be televised by Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via Town of Barnstable's Government Access Channel. 2. The real-time public comment can be addressed to the Conservation Commission utilizing the Zoom link 828-5849-3332 or use the toll-free phone number 888-475-4499 as shown on the agenda. 3rd, the public can also email the comments to edmund.hoops@barnstable.gov at least 8 hours prior to the hearing. This afternoon, we have a long agenda. Please keep your comment to our jurisdictions under the State Wetland Protection Act and local ordinances only. Please note the applicants for the 3rd NOI this afternoon has requested for a continuance without testimony to August the 8th. And that would be Mark Out and Catherine Gingrich Bryant to a continuance to September the 8th. Under the new business, we have one item. Is the amendment to Chapter 701 property use violations. Brady?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, I was just sharing the proposed amendment. Commissioners, I hope you had a chance to review this. This is a relatively minor change, more for consistency's sake than anything, but it's important to note. I have brought before you an amendment that would add 4 different properties to where we do not allow hunting. It's in light of the state focusing on changes to hunting regulations. Just a summary of the justification for these. Lumber Pond and Long Beach are already advertised as no hunting areas. We're adding it here because it was not reflected in the regulation before. The parcel that's part of Bridge Creek, not the entire thing, just a small part of it on Church Street. It's in the deed that we acquired it through, that it should not be hunted on. And by setbacks, it wasn't huntable anyways, but things are changing, so it's proposed to add it. And the last one is the child's property, which is not really open to the public very much. It's just managed for hay, but in the management plan it says hunting should be banned, and it has not been formally done, so it's proposed to be added as well. That's about it. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So this is just to make it consistent from our web page versus what we had on the regulations, right?
Yeah, consistent with our management plans and what is online, what we advertise to the public as to what's huntable.
Okay, thank you, Brady. Pete?
Yes, I am actually a hunter, and I'm a member of the West Barnstable Deer Club. My question to Brady and my fellow commissioners is, again, I fully understand these public lands were never supposed to be huntable. But what the state is now reviewing is for archery season, the setback of 500 feet associated with firearms is likely to be reduced to maybe 200 feet because our bows don't go that far. When that is the case, the setback for archery will be much less than the 500 feet that is currently expected across Massachusetts for firearms. Does that make a difference, Brady, on any of these?
That's a good question. My understanding is that it bans hunting outright, though this is under it's in the section that's talking about firearms, so it is a little bit gray. But I don't think we allow archery in those areas anyways. So I think we treat them as one of the same under the reg. That's
okay,
just my
Brady,
interpretation.
Brady, that is because there were deed restrictions for hunting total, not because of a 500-foot setback. Is my understanding that?
Yeah, well, the Church Street one was explicitly for a deed restriction. I don't.
Right.
Some of them have just been treated that way for a long time, and we're keeping it consistent, like Long Beach and Lombard Pond. It's my assumption that it is because of old setbacks, but.
So I would like my commission to think about, in the event of state changes to hunting regulations, specifically regarding archery and the safety concern not being 500 feet, but being 200 feet, I would like, again, I don't think they've been passed yet, but they're under discussion, for us to potentially revisit this for some of our public lands if it's a 200-foot setback only for archery deer season. So that's just something I'd like to put out there to my fellow commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you, Peak. I think in the introductory, it kind of mentioning that the state is looking at this, and I think the setback for that archery is 250 feet instead of 200. So depending what the final regulation is, then we have to come back and revisit this.
Except if it's deed restricted, it doesn't matter. If it says hunting is deed restricted, that would override everything.
Of course.
If and when that change is made, then it could be a case-by-case consideration of each area, right, to the commission.
Right.
Okay. Thank you for your consideration.
Any other question from the commissioner?
I'll just make a comment that
Sure.
the Long Beach property, I don't think you want people running around with even bows and arrows out there. That would be a little much.
Of course.
If you're ready, do you need a motion, Tom, to move this forward?
Yeah.
Motion to accept the changes as recommended.
Anyone second?
So moved, but I would like to add something for Long Beach. Below the high water mark, one is allowed to hunt waterfowl with firearms if they are further than 500 feet away from a house, because below the high water mark, you've got fishing and fowling rights.
Yeah, it is on there. There is an asterisk note on there, and I put that on the Long Beach one because that's how we treat Crocker Neck. Same deal.
Right. Right.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, it's on the second page. Roll call.
Dabadili,
Aye.
DeMello,
Aye.
Hearn, I, Kashulik,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Sampu,
Aye.
and Tangney.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you, Brady.
Thanks, guys.
We have 5 revised plans. The first one is Live in London, SE3-6177. This is 21st Scottsdale Road, Centerville. Arlene?
Good afternoon, Arlene Wilson, AM Wilson Associates here for Mr. Ludden. He has a couple of small details that have gotten away from us all and got built by the contractor without being shown on the plan first. There are small issues if it weren't for the existing house and the major portion of the rest of the project, which is properly permitted. These would go with an RDA, and I suspect the commission wouldn't have given it much thought, but here we are. So let me try and share my screen.
There is a revised plan. It's dated August the 10th.
And you can see the issues are that we have a piece of stepping stone path that runs from the driveway to the top of the access stairs down the slope. There is a rinse station that got built just above the stairs, and a propane tank, which unfortunately the contractor put in without asking for survey. And so it's just barely on the wrong side of the property line, and we will be moving it essentially parallel to the site where it is and adjacent to that stepping stone path. It's an above ground installation. The mitigation for this particular project had some overage in it. All of this work, I believe, would require about 48 square feet of additional mitigation. It's all greater than 70 feet from the resource area. Even with this, if we subtracted that 48 feet, we'd still have about 74 square feet of mitigation over what would be needed. So I'd be happy to answer questions the commission might have.
Thank you, Arlene. Any question from the commissioner? Bill?
Yeah, I'd like to say that I visited the site and was pleased to see that the plantings on the to the east of the stairs was done. It looked pretty good. That being said, the owner was there, and he pointed out how he had done that, and I thought that was great. But he had these stones. They were probably softball, like baseball or softball size round stones as his demarcation line. And I was just hoping that that was not going to be the way to delineate that area. You know, he said, no, we're not going to mow there. And I believe him, but I do think that for posterity, there should be a more robust delineation. Also, to the west, to the west of the stairs, there's a small section that still needs to be done, and hopefully that will be done soon. But I was glad that he had done some plantings on that major section to the east. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Angela?
Yeah, I agree with Bill. This is minimal revision out of the resource area, and the mitigation has been started as agreed in the original plan. So I'm asking, they're going to keep to the original mitigation plan. And I agree also that the demarcations, rocks or whatever they put there do need to be larger, but it is a good start on what we had already agreed upon when it was an NOI. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question from the commissioner? None? Could I have a motion to approve the revised plans dated August the 10th?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn, aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
Tangney.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
The next revised plan is Courtney and Melissa Palmer, SE 3-6230, 621 Main Street, West Barnstable. Who is representing the applications?
I believe that should be Paul Shea.
Is Paul here?
I don't believe that Paul is here.
So we put down and then let it go for the next one. The next one is Hyannis Sport Club, SE 3-6116. Anyone from BSC?
Yes, Tom, Kieran Healy with BSC.
Yes. Go ahead.
Representing the owners, Hyannis Sport Club. We have the work almost complete out there, and there were a few items when we had a member of conservation staff come out. There was a little bit of additional hardscape around the concrete seating area. There was a snack shack that was built within the previously approved area for disturbance, and there were some trees.
Do you mind to share the screen? Do you have a site plan to show?
Has my screen come up?
Yep.
Okay, so there were three major things. There was some concrete addition at the seating area right here. There was a snack shack that was built within this area below the walls and on the approved concrete area around the pickleball courts. And there were some trees cut down around the parking lot. So what we're proposing to do is to add mitigation over in this area. Total of 3,300 required. We're going up to 7,400. We're proposing black tupelo, white spruce with trees, and red maple. And then we've other plants in there as well. Other than that, the site is stable, and I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Ed, did you get a chance to look at the mitigation plan?
Yep. Mitigation plants are all good choices.
Okay. Thanks, Ed. Any question from the commissioner? Bill?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment, and that is that we have an ordinance, Chapter 704, Section 4 of that talks about the 0 to 50 buffer. And it talks about how we want to seriously protect the 0 to 50 buffer. And I guess I would just say that this development, the applicant has simply done the work beforehand without seeking a permit or anything, a revised plan before going ahead, and assumes that, it's okay for a 1 to 4 mitigation. Well, if it's in the 0 to 50, it gets a 1 to 4. But I would like to say that Section 704 of our regulation literally says, quote, to the extent feasible and practical, work should be avoided within the 50-foot buffer. Therefore, the granting of a waiver and acceptance of mitigation for work performed within the 50-foot buffer should be considered only under exceptional, limited circumstances. In other words, there are some times when it can make sense, but people put patios in without permission or whatever, decks, and they just say, well, it's 1 to 4. I'm going to do it anyway. And then we go, yeah, okay. And I don't think that's a good way to run a store. And so I'm disappointed that somebody would just go forward, do something, and then assume, 1 to 4, that's good enough, because we really don't want to have development that is is just for minor recreational opportunity, if you will. So that's just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Pete?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Dr. Hearn here, but I'm also want to bring up the mitigation. And near as I can tell from the plan, the mitigation is on the, I guess, the western side of the development, whereas between the development and our resource area, there's little or no mitigation. Help correct me if I'm wrong, because mitigation, if it is possible, ought to be between that area that has been developed and our resource area. And it looks to me that it's all off to the side, and I'm not very happy with that. Help me understand. Thank you.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, just looking at the plan again, this is the wetlands right here, and this area is all vegetated between the wetland flags and the bottom of the wall. And the concrete wall was approved in this location. So this is vegetated, so there's actually no space to put any plantings between the tennis courts and the wetland. So that's why we have this area. This is the closest one we find.
Good, Karen, thank you. The vegetation that is between the wall and the wetland, what kind of vegetation is it? Is it potentially trees, or is it all lower Rosa rugosa brush stuff? Please advise.
At this time, I cannot advise. Pete, it's been a while since I've been out there, and I'd only be guessing if I said something, so I can't advise on that. I just well planted.
Because I would like to see some vertical complexity into this tiny strip that still remains between the wall and the wetland, something that would be woody, have the capacity to absorb a fair amount of nutrients. So that's where that's my point. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. John?
Yeah, Pete, I happen to agree. I think you raised a good point, Peter. With regard to Bill's point, I'd like to just, again, make a general comment as he did. We wrote that regulation because we generally felt that if somebody wanted a 10 square foot addition into the 0 to 50, and the 0 to 50 is in pretty bad shape, and we could get 40 feet of plantings in mitigation, that may be a win-win for the environment. So, Bill, I understand where you're coming from, but I think we've got to look at each site on a specific basis. That's all.
Thank you, John. Angela?
Yeah, just for clarity, I understand what was put in, but I didn't quite understand the exact square footage of increase that's being done in this revised plan in the 0 to 50 and the 50 to 100. Could that be stated for the record? What is the increase in square footage of hardscape in the 0 to 50 in this revision?
I don't have the exact number. It is very limited in that the snack shack right here, this was not approved to be constructed, but it is on an area that was approved to be disturbed. So that doesn't add additional disturbance. It is a small structure, yes, but it's not adding disturbance. And then on the concrete here, I believe they just added some steps in this area so they could have a little bit easier access to get up into the concrete viewing steps that overlook the tennis courts. And those were the two constructed items that were hardscape.
Thank you. It's just usually, no matter how minimal it is, it's a lot easier for us to understand and the public when you actually put the actual square footage you are asking to increase in each of those sections. Thank you.
Any other question from the commissioner? If not, Hilary, I'm thinking about this. Since Peter is asking for some planting between the wetland and the edge of the tennis court there. Do you want to take a look and see what kind of planting can you add it in there, and do that and come back in the next revised plan?
Sure, but what if I've got a completely vegetated buffer and there is no space to plant anything without removing plants to do so?
Tom, can we let Ed take a look at it?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
My suggestion was he submit a plan and work with Ed on it, because Pete's point is valid, but let's take a look at it.
Yeah. Ed, do you mind to look at that?
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay.
And I really would like some vertical complexity. It could be vegetated all with Asiatic bittersweet, for gosh sakes. So just because it's vegetated doesn't mean it's high quality vegetation. Thank you.
Valid point, Peter.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve this revised? We need a revised plan from Keely and to be reviewed by Ed on this planning, on this revised plan.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abdili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
I'm going to give it a reluctant aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
Tagney.
Aye.
And that is unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members.
The next one is Michael F. Schultz, SE 3-6044299 Eel River Road, Osterville. John?
Good afternoon, John O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting. This is a property on Eel River Road. Bring up the plan here. This was a new house and pool. The work is complete. We're here with one proposed requested addition and one piece that's existing that we hope will allow us to keep. Along the northerly property line, there's an existing approved fence, and we are requesting to be able to extend that about 26 feet. There was some photos attached. There's a budding driveway that is encroaching or continuing to slip over the line here that was removed at one point under a separate notice of intent on that other property, but just seems to keep migrating. So would really like to just kind of connect our existing fence across here to keep that driveway contained back on its own lot. And this is not a pool fence at this point, so we're certainly amenable to providing clearance underneath it. The second change that we are requesting is there's a little bit of a additional pathway connector between the pier and the shed, which was approved. And, really just looking back at this, the applicants were approved to clear and grass all the way down to the 50-foot buffer. And instead they have maintained basically a natural conditions out there all the way up to that pool fence. And again, even planting native things landward of it. So this is just kind of a existing trail that is out there that they'd like to be able to maintain, that connects the piers to the right in this photo, and it gets into that shed. And I think with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, John. Any question from the commissioner?
One.
John?
John, could you describe on the plan what that path will be with, what it's made up of, et cetera, just for the record?
The path there are wood chips on the path. I think that is contained within the letter. And those paths are 4 feet or less wide.
So that's on the record somewhere. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other question from the commissioner? None? Could I have a motion to approve the revised plan as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili,
Aye.
DeMello,
Aye.
Hearn, aye. Kashulik,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Sampu,
Aye.
Tagney,
Aye.
and that's unanimous again.
Thank you.
Thank
Good luck.
you.
The next revised plan is Mark A. and Scott East Crosby, SE 3-6027, 30 Crosby Circles, Osterville. John?
Yes, Sean O'Day from Sullivan Engineering Consulting again. This was a demo rebuild, flood zone only project. They have, since the filing of the notice of intent for the house, they have actually gotten the FEMA maps revised so that this house is no longer within it, but it's still, I guess, subject to our order of conditions, and they have added a patio to the rear of the house, and there's some kind of gravel overflow area to the side of the driveway. And there was a generator in the back of the house, and there was some, I believe, some photos of, there's the gravel along the edge of the driveway, generator. I did not include a great picture of the patio for you, but I could pull one up if it was important. But again, this was flood zone only, and we are just working towards trying to get certificates of compliance.
Thank you, John. Any question from the commissioner? Seeing none, could I have a motion to approve the revised plan as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Tagney,
Aye.
Sampu,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Kashulik,
Aye.
Hearn, aye. DeMello,
Aye.
Abadili,
Aye.
and that is unanimous.
Thank you again.
Up, John.
Tom, sorry to interrupt. Paul Shea is here for Courtney and Melissa Palmer, revised Plan B.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You read my mind. I'm going back to that Courtney and Melissa Palmer, SE 3-6230, 621 Main Street, West Barnstable. Hi, Paul.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Paul Shea with Independent Environmental Consultants. We originally filed a notice of intent application for Mr. Palmer back in, I think it was back in September of 2024 for a new swimming pool, in-ground swimming pool at his property. That project was approved by the commission, and one thing, and so I got asked to do a certificate of compliance for the project. We put that together, and it came out that the property owner had added in a pervious paver patio around the pool, which wasn't on the original approved order of conditions plan. So I met with the commission, and they said, you're going to need a planting plan, and you're going to need to file before the commission. So what we've done is we figured out the calculation for the pervious pavers area around the pool, roughly, I think it was, 1,000 square feet or something. And the commission had suggested that we do plantings within the 0 to 50-foot buffer zone of the wetland. And they wanted a 3-to-1 ratio for the patio that put in. So we've got roughly an area of 3,000 square feet of new plantings within the buffer zone of the wetland, which is located downslope, down gradient to the swimming pool.
Paul, do you have the capability of sharing the screen? If not, Ed, do you mind to bring up this plan?
I wish I had that high-tech ability. So I've I know that I put in, I think, 10 copies of the plans to the commission. I just don't have it on my computer. I mean, that looks familiar. That's it right there.
Yeah, Ed, bring it up. Thank you, Ed. I just want to have some plan while you're talking. Otherwise, we don't see the plan. It's kind of difficult to connect.
So if you look at the swimming pool got approved what the applicant did was he went a little further and put in a pervious paver, which is the sort of the blue and white checked area around the swimming pool. And all construction was outside the 50-foot buffer zone. It's in the 50 to 100. So when the commission said we want that area replicated, and we want it done on a 3-to-1 basis with plantings in the 0 to 50, if you look, I guess that would be to the south, sort of the southwest of the pool is where the green area is. Those are the new plants that are being proposed for the project. The plantings themselves, we had, I think, 9 sweet pepper bush, 3 mountain laurel, 4 Virginia rose, 6 high bush blueberry, and 13 low bush blueberry within the 0 to 50-foot buffer zone.
Okay.
And this is an isolated wetland, which is located at the toe slope.
Ed, did you get a chance to look at the mitigation planting?
I did. I'm okay with the plants for the most part. I mean, I'm not a real big fan of low bush blueberry, but that's my opinion. I mean, you can certainly plant it. It is a native plant that is capable of growing in that environment. But so I'm overall I'm fine with it.
Okay. Paul, I'm looking for a revised plan for the following. One is on the mitigation planting area, you should have a delineation of that area with demarcation line. And then I need a top of the wall on your rock wall. How high is the rock wall?
You mean up near the swimming pool?
Yeah, there's a label of rock wall near the swimming pool.
Right. I know that it's just from my site visit, I believe the rock wall is approximately about 4 feet in height.
Okay. So I just need the top of the elevation of the wall to make to label it on the drawing on the revised plan.
Yep.
Okay. I think that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Angela has her hand up.
Yeah, Angela.
Yeah, yes, I have no problems with this, and the mitigation they're proposing will actually enhance this area near that. They do have a nice undisturbed wild pond back there. Is it possible to have a little more freedom to plant the mitigation across the resource instead of in that trapezoid block kind of structure, just to spread it across? Because what's happened is when the trucks came in between the work limit and putting in the fence, they ended up having to put grass there, and now they're going to actually put mitigation there, which will be a plus. But I'm hoping that they can spread it across that setback line on the back property just a little more and have some, doesn't have to come before us for approval, just something Ed can do when they come back with it, when they come back with the revised plan.
Right. If I'm looking at the plan with the proposed plantings, I think it would be fairly easy for us to do plantings further in a westerly direction within the wetland, where if you look where there's an existing shop area located to the I guess that's to the east of the swimming pool. In that area there's already a cleared area back there, and they've got steps that come out into that area. If we go to the west, that's no problem. We can easily, add plantings into that area and just shift it over a bit.
Right, perfect. It's in other words, I walked it again, the pool equipment area, and then all the way across the resource to behind that existing shop. If you can just spread it out, it ends up working out better for the resource. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
Pete?
Yes, so I just want to be reminded as to, I heard the list of, saw the list of the plants that are being done. What pot size are they? Because with I think a total of 3,000 square feet of mitigation, historically, the total number of mitigation plants is in the order of 30 to 50. and depending on the pot size, that may or may not be necessarily a lot of plants. They just want assurance, and Ed can make sure it is, that this will be a good revegetation of the buffer. Thank you.
Thank you, Beak. Bill?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that, you know, you have the demarcation line and that then you have no mowing or anything. Just let it grow wild. I mean, just let it grow wild. And where Angela was suggesting you could potentially move it a little bit over towards the west, make sure that you still end up with, you know, a 3,000 square foot belt, if you will, that is, you know, all along that entire wetland. But
Yeah, we can do that.
yeah.
Okay. Could I have a motion to approve can I have a motion to approve the revised plan subject to the receipt of this revised plan showing the relocation of the mitigation area to the west, and then adding the demarcation line and the top of the wall elevations on the revised plan, and this should be reviewed by Ed.
Assuming, Tom, assuming that you end up, you know, when you shift it to the west, you're not completely removing the buffer area that is on the east. Do you know what I mean? You're not like literally moving the whole thing over to the west. If anything, you're making it a little more narrow, and you're keeping.
Correct. Yeah, more narrow to the.
That, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Yeah. That's the point. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn. Aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
Tangney.
Aye.
And that is unanimous.
Thank you, Kira.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you for your time.
We have one warning letters. Davis Laura, 743 Old Post Road, set contour, map 054, parcel 011, alteration of a wetland resource area, Contour Bay, by docking a vessel on and allowing that vessel to sit upon the intertidal zone of Contour Bay. And Brady, do you have anything to add on this one?
Nope, this one was pretty straightforward. Boat got docked at the end of a boardwalk. So, yeah.
Thank you. The next item is the enforcement. We have a total of 7 enforcement orders. So let's go through it. The first one is Frank's back, Williams and Weiss, Rachel and Centerville Realty Trust, 75 Old Farms Road, Centerville, map 231, parcel 023, alteration of a buffer to a wetland resource area, Waquac Lake, by adding unpermitted hardscape patio. Brady?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Credit to Rob for making this presentation while he's out. I'm covering. So I'm just going to try to be brief with each of these next enforcement orders. So this one is on Lake Waquac. The area of interest is the waterfront right there in the green area. As you can see, there's something going on there in 2023. It's a long-standing wooden dock, which apparently had since rotted out. And the homeowner is interested in adding a patio in its place, but did not receive the correct permitting. Most of it went in by the time that we got on site. And by the time we had issued a stop work order, so we went ahead with the enforcement order, and it's going to be a removing 3 feet of the hardscape and seeking approval, or removing the whole thing and restoring to original condition. The point was to try to get it further from the water, at least a little bit, if it was going to be permitted. But I thought I saw Scott Weiss in for this one, and he's also retained Down Cape as representatives. I don't know if they have comment, but we're available. Thanks.
What is the homeowner's name? Frank?
Scott Weiss.
Oh, Scott.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you understand what we're asking for under the enforcement order?
Yeah, so we had the wood had rotted out, and I replaced it with the pavers, as Brady said, to make it a little safer for my elderly father-in-law, and didn't realize I had to pull permit for that since it was already there. We didn't change the footprint at all. But since the enforcement letter came in, I did hire Down Cape as well to help us get this done right.
Okay.
Yeah, and Dan from Down Cape, I just offer that there was a pretty substantial, something like 16 by 24 licensed dock there as part of the landing, as part of the Chapter 91 license. So that is on the record, and it is in the same spot from what I can see so far. But we'll get into it and work with staff to bring in something that's reasonable for the commission. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Could I have a motion to approve the enforcement order as written?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Cagney,
Aye.
Sampu,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Kashulik,
Aye.
Hearn, aye, DeMello,
Aye.
and Abadili.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck. The next one is Caldwell, Adam, and Meredith. 152 Marston's Lane, Yarmouthport, map 350, parcel 030, alteration of the buffer to a wetland resource area, vegetated wetland, by adding unpermitted hardscapes.
What are we doing in Yarmouthport?
It's technically Barnstable Village. It's an assessor's map error. We've had this before. Don't worry about it.
Well, you got me a little nervous now, Brady. I thought we were taking over Yarmouth.
We're taking over. Yep.
It's that crazy Comiquid area. Yeah.
Brady.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this one is on an isolated vegetated wetland, kind of tucked away in that little neighborhood off Mary Dunn and 6A, right next to Yarmouth. And what happened here, we had, somewhat lawn, somewhat vegetated area in the backyard that got turned into a patio that is sort of a basketball court as well, it looks like. And that was relatively recently. And because it's pretty close to the wetland, we're asking for removing and restoring it or seeking approval by filing a notice of intent. I thought I saw both homeowners, and I believe Lynn Hanlon is also on as their consultant, but won't answer questions.
Lynn, and who's the homeowner here?
It'd be the Cowles.
Oh,
Adam and Meredith.
Yeah, Adam.
Hello.
Do you understand what we're asking under the enforcement order?
Yes, we understand. We were clearly not aware of the rules and regulations as far as building so close to the wetlands. But yes, we have learned a lot since then from all of you. So thank you.
No problem.
So we both work in healthcare. We are not aware of any of these rules, but we do have 5 boys for children. So we needed a space for them to run around.
Is Lynn Hamlin going to comment?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I can't see or hear me. This house is in a golf club community, and I totally understand why they didn't notice the wetland. I walked right by it. It's a very limited backyard, and I'm wondering if the commission would give the property owner some indication of the success of filing a notice of intent to keep this, I'm calling it a basketball patio, because it's very expensive to hire a surveyor, hire a consultant, potentially do a mitigation plan, and present this before the board. And I would hate to see them do all that work and spend all that money without, I know you're not obligated, nor are you tied to an opinion without a full application, but if you could give them some idea. And I think that this property would probably qualify for a mitigation constrained property. It's entirely within, while constructed within lawn area, it's entirely within the 50-foot buffer to that isolated wetland. And there's going to be, we're not going to be able to do a 4-to-1 mitigation without chewing up their entire yard, and even that might not be enough. So it would be mitigation constrained also.
Then, as you said, I don't think we can kind of give you any indication of what chances you have on these applications. I think you can work with our staff, Ed, and trying to put your best efforts to it and see what we can come with what we can approve.
Yeah, you used to. Boards used to do that. I understand it's not locked in, but we used to poll commission members and they gave you an indication of whether you were dead in the water or whether they'd be open to an application for this.
Any comments from the commissioner?
Can she repeat the ask? Because what I'm hearing is in the 0 to 50, they want to put a basketball court. Am I over summarizing this?
No, they want a permanent existing. And it's a patio that they put a basketball court.
But if you came before us with an NOI to put a basketball court in the 0 to 50, what do you think, Lynn, would we have said?
Well,
that's my answer. You're asking us.
Okay, so
I'm asking you.
I appreciate that.
When was the last time you heard us approve that in the last 10 years?
Well, that's what I'm looking for. I mean, it's within lawn and they have a tiny backyard and it's a golf housing community. So I didn't know if, the mitigation fee would be worth it's not doing anything to the wetland from a practical sense, but it does violate your regulations.
Thank you. Pete?
Yeah, my concern, of course, besides being structure in the 0 to 50, substantial structure of non-pervious wildlife, sterile surface, is I myself am interested in going to visit this isolated wetland to see if it in fact is a vernal pool that would serve tremendous value to this whole area. And then I would be potentially interested to look at the health of that vernal pool to see perhaps if, as part of mitigation, there could be some beneficial, I won't say alteration, but some beneficial habitat creation around this isolated wetland. Again, I'm probably assuming it's going to be a vernal pool, but I'm sure it is not yet certified. Thank you for listening to my input.
Thank you, Pete. John?
Well, thank you. Excuse me, I apologize for that. I look at, again, maybe a little different some of the other commissioners. This is an isolated wetland. I don't know exactly what that wetland is. I don't know the purpose that it serves. And I, for one, would be willing to look at this on a site-specific basis and not follow, quote, it's in the 0 to 50, we don't allow it, period, end. I don't think that is what the regulation says. I don't think that is wise from an environmental point of view. I'm not saying that I would vote in favor of this, and please understand that, but I would be willing at least to look at this on a site-specific basis.
Yeah, and please understand, John, I was just explaining if the question was put to us now and this isn't what we're supposed to be doing, that was my answer back. It wasn't that I was saying I wouldn't look at it either as it came as an NOI, but I refuse to make comments on it now. And that
I think
you should agree with me on that.
Yeah, I think your statement as a general statement is correct. So I would agree with you as an opening statement, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Bill?
Yeah, I liked Angela's comment and implication of her comment. I'm a little concerned about precedent. It's true site-specific basis and all that, but still, it just seems like a bit of a precedent any way you cut it. So I liked Angela's response.
And again, I want to clarify, I'm not saying we wouldn't look at it if it was an NOI as a specific case. I'm saying this isn't an NOI before us right now. So I needed the answer that way to answer her clearly. And that's very different than me making decisions on this as we move forward.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would agree
As long
with
as
that.
you all understand that, I want to make sure I was clear. Thank you.
Angela,
would agree with
you're
that
very
statement.
clear. Very clear.
May I say something?
Who's this? The homeowner?
This is Cynthia Bovair. I'm a land surveyor. The Cowles asked me to look into this, their notice and what was going on in this vicinity. I couldn't find any recorded or any evidence of those wetlands except on the original subdivision plan in the late 1960s. And what's shown on the subdivision plan certainly looks very much like what's on the town GIS in the aerial. And so their house was built in 1970, and the house and the deck are within the 50 and the 100-foot setback. A new septic system was put in 1971. These were all the town in the town building department and health department records. And on none of those plans did they mention the wetland buffers or show them. There were no comments about that. So the other thing is that I find is that, and I've talked to my wetland scientist, is that so when the subdivision was first done, it showed a pocket of wetland that was mentioned there. But then you just don't know during construction, when the roads were built, the homes were built, everything was done. Wetlands change. They get bigger, but they also get smaller. And one of the things Lynn said was, when I first went there, I didn't see the wetlands. So in the aerial that the town agent was discussing, when we go on the town GIS, it literally says you can't use this for anything. So that it really isn't apparent, this pocket of wetlands here. I know a vernal pool was mentioned, but I highly doubt that. But I just think the Cowles are being asked to really do a lot of work for surveying and wetland delineation and everything that previously on this site was never done. So I think, that what you're discussing now, you might not want to make the precedent, but the basis of what the town's enforcement order is, I guess we would like to see more. This is the first time we've seen these aerial photos, and I think I understand that they were done from a drone. Certainly that isn't as accurate as what I would do as a land surveyor. So, and all your other plans that you've shown throughout this meeting have been great, but this is, for a basketball court for 5 boys in an area that was level in their backyard. There's no slope there. There's no change in drainage or anything. It's literally get the boys out of the house and go bounce some balls. So I just wanted to let you know that they did. I think that Cowles did do their due diligence. I went through a lot of town records, and I really couldn't find anything in this neighborhood regarding that wetlands.
If I may.
Okay, go ahead.
I can go. Don't worry about it. I don't think that the presence of a wetland is in question here. It's on Mass Mapper. We've actually done enforcement on this wetland within the last year. The commission approved a warning letter for a shed on the north side of this wetland. I've gone out and seen it myself. It has many features that are very stereotypical of wetlands, especially on the opposite side. You could see it more clearly. On the east side, I don't think that a lack of evidence in old registry of deeds paperwork is any grounds to say you can't consider it a wetland now. And especially the ones you mentioned are before the Wetlands Protection Act even existed. So there wouldn't be any wetland buffers necessarily. So I don't know if that's really relevant here. It's our understanding there is a wetland there, and thus this is an enforceable thing, and that's why we're asking for a notice. Thanks.
Good luck, Lynn.
Okay, I appreciate your input. Thank you.
Mr.
You
Chairman?
need a motion for the enforcement order.
Did we lose Tom?
I think we lost Tom.
Yeah, he might have got disconnected actually.
Angela, you want to call for a motion to issue the info?
Angela, could I just add one more thing?
Absolutely, Ed.
Okay, so we've been talking about vernal pools, and we should be very careful about saying that and suggesting it. There is no indication that it is not listed as a potential vernal pool under Mass Mapper. So I just want to be careful saying otherwise. The other thing I would say is, like, in this case, I'm looking at an aerial photo that was taken back in April of this year. I'm seeing a lot of green lawn in between that sports court and the wetland, and I'm looking at that saying, like, well, I think what John was saying earlier, this would be a classic example. You've got green lawn being maintained right down to the wetland edge. This would be a really good spot where you could do a really nice mitigation area that would have a lot of wildlife potential as well. So that's all I'm saying.
Thank you, Ed. So I make a motion to accept this enforcement order as presented.
Second.
Roll.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn. Aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Is Tom back? Tom? Okay, Sampu.
Aye.
And Tangney.
Aye.
That is 6 votes for, and Tom is not here for whatever reason.
All right.
It passes.
We look forward to seeing this as an NOI in our future. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, second on the agenda, or third, is Farrell, Michael, and Nancy. Is this where we're at?
Yep.
28 Lakewood Drive, Centerville. Brady, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. This is Farrell, Michael F., and Nancy A., 28 Lakewood Drive, Centerville, map 212, parcel 022, alteration of wetland resource area, Wequaquet Lake by adding an unpermitted dock. Thank you, Chair Tangney, Acting Chair Tangney. So this, again, we're on Wequaquet. We're talking about what's in this little right-of-way here off of Lakewood Drive. And so, as you can see on the left side, we have a dock. This is a permitted dock, to our knowledge, and has been there for a while. And you might notice that it's a little bit longer on the right. And that's a more recent image. Here's on the ground. You see a little right away leading up to it, and the dock as it is when Rob visited. You could see that maintenance needs to stick to the original permit that it was issued under. It was actually ART permit in 1991, and that any work we need notice on, which we normally do through Form Ms. And it was permitted as 64 feet and is now longer than that. For some reason, I don't have the exact new length, but it is longer, and the extension was not permitted. So we're asking to restore the deck to its original condition, and then or remove it and seek approval for a notice of intent with the extension on it. I think I saw the Farrells in here.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe I see Michael Farrell. Thank you.
I'm right here. Yes.
Thank you. I'm back. Sorry for the power outage in my office. Mike, do you understand what we're asking for you to do under this enforcement order?
We understand it, but may I say a few words?
Go ahead.
Okay. Number one, dock is on a deeded right of way, which we do not own, and the dock is owned by 4 different families. I believe that we got the letter because our property is adjacent to the narrow right of way that the dock is part of. The original dock was permitted, as you said, in 1991, and we decided to remove it, basically replace a 40-year-old pressure-treated lumber dock for the safety of the users. It was in terrible condition, and to remove the hazardous material from the lake, it being pressure treated lumber. We replaced it with an aluminum dock, as we noticed that a lot of people on the lake had done the same thing, and we thought that was in the best interest of us and the health of the lake itself as well. The dock is put in usually in late April, removed sometime in early October or so every year. The lake. The reason the dock is longer is there are 4 boats on it, as you can see from the old picture. There were 4 boats docked on it before, years before. But the lake has been losing considerable amount of water. In fact, it's been down over 2 feet several years in a row. In fact, my boat and one of my neighbor's boats has suffered hull damage and at considerable expense being repaired, and or we've had to remove a couple of boats to prevent any further damage. So that's why that extra piece is on there. The dock is 72 feet long with that extra 12-foot section, and that's basically it. And we didn't realize that we thought we were doing the right thing. And obviously, we needed to get a permit for it, which we didn't know. And you tell us what we need to do, and we'll get it done.
Well, just work with Brady, because in the sense that you need to get a permissions to extend the pier, which, okay, we understand the pond. I mean, the Parker Lake there is kind of lost water stuff, so we kind of understand that. But on the book, you only have 64 feet. So
right,
in that sense that you need to extend that, and then you need to work with your neighbor, because if you mention that you don't own this, but you build it in, and depending on who's the owner on this pier would be on the application stuff.
There is no indication anywhere. We have looked and looked and looked as to who owns that property. It's on about 10 or 12 property owners' deeds. So they can use it, but nobody owns it.
Okay. Good.
Quick question, Tom.
Yep.
Who paid for the extension?
Well, the 4 dock owners, our family and 3 other families, bought the dock.
You divided up the cost. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So you just have those, your neighbors to sign off in terms of the application. That's all.
Yeah. So what do we have to do then?
I would say work with the staff to get you the proper directions to file it.
Okay, Robert Brewer.
No,
yep.
Not with Brady.
Whoever's around, if it's me or Rob, but
yeah,
we'll work together to do the notice if that's what you want to do, or removing it. You have the choice as presented before you.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, it looks again like we're going to end up either probably pulling our boats, the 2 boats that are closest to shore, because of the lake is down again this year, yeah. And so we'd have to, in order to keep it in there for the full season, we would have to have that extra 12-foot section.
It would seem to me, sir, you'd be wise to work with Brady or Ed and file a request.
Yeah, sure. No, that's not a problem.
Mike, this is Molly. If I may jump in.
Yeah, Molly's one of the other homeowners.
Okay.
Hi, I'm one of the other homeowners. I just wanted to state, the original dock was permitted under the same conditions of it being on the right of way without the owner, and we fully intend to file the notice of intent to extend the length of the dock if that's all that's necessary. We will work with whoever's available at the Conservation Commission to get that done as soon as possible.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, probably Brady or Ed, depending on who's in the office there.
Okay, very good.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve the enforcement order as written?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn, aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
Tangney.
Aye.
And that is unanimous. Tom.
Thank you. Good luck. Work with Brady on that.
Very good, will do.
The next
Thank you.
The next enforcement order is Lindsay Gallagher's 1044 Old Falmouth Road, Marston's Mill, map 149, parcel 155, alteration of a buffer to a wetland resource area. Vegetated wetland by altering soil and destroying vegetations. Brady?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we're close to the West Barnstable Marston's Mills line here. We have a vegetated wetland. There may be some hydrological connections to other nearby wetlands here, but it's right off Old Falmouth Road. You can see some of the surface water right there. And there's been some work going on in the buffer here, in the lawn. I believe the homeowner's trying to make more usable space. It had been a garden and other somewhat agricultural structures before. As you can see, some fill's gone down, some cutting has been done. And so we're asking for it to be restored to its original condition or retroactively seek approval to do that grading as the homeowner's done, with a notice of intent and no guarantee that it's approved, as always. I thought I saw the homeowner on.
Yeah, I think I saw the names too, Linz.
Nope.
The homeowner, you understand what we're asking under the enforcement order?
Yes, I understand. It's just something obviously I had no clue. This was straight out back on my property, and there was just a low spot that I grabbed. I bought fill in, and I was just trying to grade it and make it flat so I could have a nice lawn area for my kids to play on. There was an old garden that was there. We pulled the fence around it, and I was just going to use that same soil from the garden and spread over the fill. And now now we're here. I had no clue. It was literally straight out back on my property. It's 4 acres of land. I had no clue that there was all this that I had to do before doing that.
Well, now you understand the consequence of doing that stuff right now under the for the wetland resource area. So, well, work with Brady, and we'll go from there. Any question from the commissioner? Could I have a motions to approve the enforcement order as written?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn, aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
Tangney.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck both with Brady on that one.
Okay.
Hugo, Mark J, and Paula J, trustee, not 198 Huckaneck Road, Centerville, map 252, parcel 141, alteration of a wetland resource area, shallow pond, by adding a permitted dock. Brady?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So not on Pocket this time. We're on Shallow Pond right nearby. We're looking at this little dock outlined in pink. It's been there a long time. In fact, it's been there since before the current homeowners, but it was discovered that it never received permitting. And so it's something we asked them to remove or seek approval with a notice of intent. Here's some pictures in person, but just want to be clear, it was previous homeowners that did it. Unfortunately, as goes, it's now the current homeowner's responsibility, as they have claim to the land. So again,
the homeowner here?
Yeah. I was hoping they were going to be here. I spoke with them this morning. They at least, they very much wanted me to get across that it was not them that did this. And they did not know about it upon purchase.
Hello?
Hello, I see Paula's name.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good.
I would just like to say that, as Brady said, when we bought the house, the dock was here. No one told us anything about the dock wasn't permitted, or we would have done it at that time. The dock also comes out in October and goes in May. We just want to do the right thing to be able to keep the dock.
Yes, I appreciate it. I know it's not your fault to build a dock there, but that was a previous. I mean, you wouldn't be the first one or the last one on some of the unpermitted dock on some of the lakes in here around this area. So just go work with Brady, apply for the permit to keep the dock. That's all I can say.
So just work with Brady to get the dock permitted?
Yep.
Okay.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Will you contact me, Brady?
I will be in contact.
Okay, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I have a motion to approve the enforcement order as written?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Cagney,
Aye.
Campu,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Kashulik,
Aye.
Hearn, aye. DeMello,
Aye.
Abadili.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next one is McDonald, Joseph D. and Madeline, 75 Ocean Drive, Hyannis, map 245, parcel 128. Alteration of a buffer to a wetland resource area, vegetated wetland by removing vegetation. Brady?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we are over in Hyannis right now. So we got some marshes to the south, a little bit of shrubland or shrub wetland. And the area of impact we're looking at is kind of inside this right-of-way, paper road, something like that. The people cited in the enforcement own the land to the south. Rob's outlined the area of impact here. Cutting was done. It's in the buffer to the wetland to the south, and no permit was received for it. This was relatively recent, and Rob went out and told him to stop work. But you could see the areas where it's kind of scalped here, where it's brown, and it wasn't lawn, but it was formerly vegetated. I believe this may at one point have been somewhat of like a road or path or something between the two paved roads, but it wasn't at the time of the cutting. So Rob's asked for a 100-foot wide restoration planting area, which is going to have 15 shrubs and seeded otherwise in the area that was impacted. All native species. We're looking for a planting plan next month and planting in the fall afterwards. Annual reports for 3 years and replacing anything that's died. And of course, no pruning or clearing any vegetation within the restoration area. We'll do irrigation by request. No mulch except under the drip line of those shrubs, addressing erosion with plantings as well. And know that failure to meet deadlines they'll receive more enforcement. I thought I saw a McDonald on here.
You did?
Okay. Reed McDonald is on, and we'll take questions.
Hi. Do you understand what we are asking you to do under the enforcement order?
Well, my question is this: it's a private road. It's a paper road. It's been a walkway for pedestrians for, well, let's see, my parents bought the house in 1968. It's been a walkway for people to go up and down as long as I can remember. The vegetation, which is mostly invasive, grows literally like the Amazon. So we were just trying to get it back to what my father had been pruning that back since we bought the house in 68. So my question is, can we not go back to what it was? It's been pruned every year for the last, again, 60 years. We'd have the lawn guy go down twice a year and just cut it back so that people could walk down the road.
This is something you can get a permit for.
Oh, okay. So getting a permit.
Yeah.
But you can't do it without a permit. That's why we're enforcing it now. So.
Okay. So what was done previously was done without a permit, but that is irrelevant at this point.
Correct. Yes. Correct.
So going forward, as far as the mitigation plan goes, the road, again, a private road, according to the town surveyor, is 40 feet wide. How wide would the permit allow us to go? from the sea, the middle of the road.
That's for a later consideration.
Okay.
There's not a permit before us now, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And
It's
as
just
far
about
as
the enforcement.
so, apply for the permit, and the mitigation plan is on hold.
Currently, if this is accepted, then you're permitted, or you are obligated to do this unless a permit is issued otherwise by the commission. So
I can't figure out how to use the hand raising fund, but I was wondering if I could chime in.
Is Angela?
Yes, I'm Angela Tanner. I'm from Crawford Land Management, and I'm working with Reed to review the planting plan requirements. And I went out to the site yesterday, and he is correct. It is a lot of invasive vines. There are some native vines as well, but in my opinion, it's actually a pretty narrow space. I measured it. It varies from 2 to 9 feet of cleared area in between the vines and the lawn, the existing lawn. And if we were to put a row of shrubs all along there and maintain that area, get proper irrigation to them, and keep all of the invasive vines at bay for the 3 years that's required, plus monitoring reports, I just don't think that is a viable solution. Those shrubs are going to be inundated by those vines within a couple of months. As soon as that last monitoring report gets filed, it's all invasive vines. So it seems to me like just letting things grow back. There's black swallowwort in there, and it's coming up already. Yesterday, I saw it coming up through the soil where it's there. It's just going to be a lot of maintenance, and those shrubs are not going to be very sustainable in that location.
Thank you for your comment. Brady and Ed, correct me if I'm wrong, whether it's, this is part of the discussion per se on this one, is like, I don't mind, with the Crawford and looking at that, come back with the proposal and see what they propose to do, and then we can do a reality check of what can be done in that area. Is it possible or not the right thing to do?
I don't think I'm understanding your question, Tom.
So what I'm saying though is they can come back with what they're proposing versus what you're asking them to do under the enforcement, and then we can make a judgment call as far as what makes sense or not.
Yeah, that seems doable.
Right. So does that make sense to you? Or is that from what's her name now? From
Angela. Yeah. Yes. So we will we possibly may be able to alter the terms of this enforcement order by working with staff. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay.
Could I ask a question or?
Yeah, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, Brady, how close is this tangled viney vegetation to the actual vegetated wetland? The actual wetland. How far is that?
I want to say I don't know how deep it goes, but it's right up against the area of clearing. Let me bring up the map, which I think is maybe 50, 60 feet from the wetland, and I don't know how deep it goes, but so some of it is likely very close and within the 50.
But we are within the 0 to 50 buffer, if you will, and we don't know where the buffer is.
Yeah, we don't have a delineation here. We're going off GIS alone.
I'm personally feeling sympathetic to the homeowner and what the consultant said, in that, maybe it's a matter of allowing the clearance. As you said, you might need a permit, or you do need a permit to clear some vegetation and make it a bit of a wider trail, if you will. But
might I suggest that the commission amends the enforcement order to include the ability to pursue permitting in that area, as opposed to the restoration?
I would suggest that's a very good compromise with this. It's somewhat confusing, so I think I would agree with Bill and Brady. I would support that.
Okay.
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, I would agree with Bill as well, but I would recommend an amendment to the enforcement order allowing the applicant to return within a defined period of time with an alternative plan for review by the commission.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comment or question from the commissioner? If not, could I have a motion to approve the enforcement order as amended so that the applicant can submit a revised plan, a plan and working with the staff?
For commission approval, right, Tom?
Yeah, they have to come back with the commission approval.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn, aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
Tagney.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. The last enforcement order by John D. and Mark C. 130 Clamshell Cove Road, Contour map 005, parcel 011, alteration of a buffer to a wetland resource area, coastal bank by cutting vegetation and failure to comply with the conditions of a request for determinations of applicability, DA-26023. Brady?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we are talking about Shoestring Bay right here in Katuitt, and we got a coastal bank right here, as well as some marsh on the bottom. So let's see. So this is before the any vista pruning, what the top of the bank looked like. And here is the after the case, where we're seeing some topping of what's on the bank and at the top of the bank. They came before us recently for an RDA. This was Roberts Landscape put through this RDA that talked about pruning 20 to 30 trees and not topping. It was explicitly not topping in the filing. You see this work is not tree topping or full crown reduction. But this is what it looks like now. We also have an email from Katie that explicitly said that there should be no topping, and they said there would be no topping on the bank during the vista pruning. Obviously, our vista pruning guidelines do not permit topping, and if we had a little bit more time, I would play it. But essentially, every commissioner that spoke, and I believe there were 4 or 5 that spoke at the hearing for the RDA, said explicitly that there should not be topping on this vista pruning permit. And so we're asking for an existing condition vegetation report by a SERP by a month from now, and then 2 months from now for a restoration plan for the site. Native species, as always, that an on-site meeting to do this, planting in the spring, annual reports for 3 years, replacement of shrubs that die, and further enforcement as necessary if deadlines aren't met, clearing in the area. We're going to need some erosion control because we're working on a bank here. Stump management to be addressed, removal of non-native species, and spacing as is best practice. So that's what's proposed, but we're bringing this forward for the commission's consideration if other means of addressing the violation are necessary. So.
Thank you, Brady. John?
Yeah, Brady, help me out here. Look, what they did was to top all those trees, just cut the tops off of them, right?
I mean, that's what it looks like.
So,
thank you.
how do you restore that? I mean, it's going to take years for those trees to, if they took off 2 feet or 3 feet or 4 feet, you're talking a lot of years, assuming those trees will continue to grow. But how do we get a restoration in this?
There are some that can regrow. In previous cases of topping, we've asked for an arborist or somebody with similar experience to ensure that some regrow. Other species don't do well when this happens, and you have to replace them. And so that's why we've written that into the order.
So we're asking for them to retain a specialist to come up with some kind of a plan identifying from tree A to tree B kind of thing. Is that what you're
Exactly.
saying?
We're trying to get an existing conditions plan and then a restoration plan on top of that.
Sounds great. Thanks, Brady. Thank you. Yep.
Thanks, John Peak.
So this is an enforcement order against the homeowner. Should we consider some kind of action against the landscaper on this as well? Thank you for considering.
Hear, hear, Peter. Hear, hear.
I think we should. The other thing that we are also discussing internally is whether to looking for a civil fine with the discussions with the town legal. And, we just want to see what your feedback is from the commissioner.
I personally think that is something that should be discussed with the likelihood of success and identifying this landscaper as someone we don't want working here in our town. Thank you. It's so clear a violation here. Egregious, I think I would summarize as.
Correct.
I have one before and after.
What's that?
Sorry, folks, I had my mic on.
Rob, were you saying something, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, because this is my industry, and with all the written documentation that was forwarded, I mean, this is just, I feel from the looks of it, it was done, and I don't want to use the word intentionally, but they did it knowing what they were doing. I mean, this is completely unacceptable.
If I may jump in here, this was clearly intentional. There was no doubt in our minds that this was clearly intentional. The landscaper actually asked Katie what would happen if he just cut everything like he did. So he was told.
He'll find out.
Yep.
I think we should pursue that, for the fine with the contractor, and then we are probably looking at some civil fine or something with the homeowner.
Yes.
That aspect.
Yeah, just to note that I believe the homeowner is on. Mark Byers on. If you want to comment.
Yeah. Commissioners, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mark.
I'm beside myself. I hired this contractor. I told him, get the permits, carry out the work. The way it was shown to me was, I do this all the time. Get the permit and do it. So I was absolutely shocked that this wasn't in compliance with what I had purchased. I'm very concerned. I didn't expect anything like this. I thought this was, provided you got the permit, he said he had done this many times before, there should be no problem. I have also consulted with Arlene Wilson, who I believe may be on this call, to advise me how to proceed to give the commission what it needs. I'll answer any questions. The idea of going to court just scares me beyond belief. I hope I can avoid that. My goal was not to hurt the bank. It was just simply to open it up a little bit. It hadn't been done for 20 years, maybe longer. So that's it. If Arlene's on the call, maybe she could chime in.
I think Arlene is on the call. Arlene, you want to say anything?
First of all, I haven't seen the site yet. Mr. Bear called me this afternoon, or yesterday afternoon. I've reviewed the documentation. Clearly, the contractor did not do what anyone anticipated would be done. I don't think it's beyond repair. I don't know how much of this work is actually down on the bank itself, but we'll find out. And then I will be calling Robert and Brady, and we'll discuss some methodology for going forward that will help to restore what's on the bank. I think the conditions in Robert's report may not be exactly what's needed here, but I'll go take a look at it and we'll talk it out. And I'm sure we'll be back to the commission with a proposal to fix it.
Yeah, go and take a look. But instead of talking to Rob right now is out of the office for a number of weeks for at least for now. So I would talk to either Ed or Brady on this one.
Yep.
Okay. Could I have a motion to approve the enforcement order as written?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn. Aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Shampoo.
Aye.
Changney.
Aye.
And that is again unanimous.
Thank you. Arlene, work with Brady and Ed on this one when you got a chance to take a look at that. This is, I mean, to us, this is very serious. So we have one RDA this afternoon. Is Kevin and Sonia Donahue proposed rinse and rebuild of an existing single-family dwelling with appurtenances at 25 Harborview Road, Barnstable, as shown on the Assessors Map 319, Parcel 139. Who is representing the homeowner?
I am.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Sorry.
I'm Lynn Hamlin, representing the property owner. I'm going to catch you up on your schedule. This is a fairly simple project. It's a raise and rebuild. The existing house encroaches a little bit into the land subject to coastal storm flowage. The rebuild will locate it entirely out of that resource area. There's no other resource area within 100 feet. It's connected to town sewer. I've specified that the roof runoff will be directed to dry wells, even though it's outside of your jurisdiction. That's just to make sure it doesn't go into your jurisdiction, and that any disturbed areas within your jurisdiction get reseeded with native grass mix. And I will stop there and see if you have questions.
Thank you, Lynn. Haven't seen you for a while. Any question from the commissioner? None?
None.
Channel 18, any public comment on this one?
I think Ann Carnes was here, but it looks like she may have dropped off. So no public comment on this item.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve this project as a negative determination?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Changney.
Aye.
Shampoo.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Kashulik.
Aye.
Hearn. Aye. DeMello.
Aye.
And Abadili.
Aye.
Approved again unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 4 NOI. The first one is Stephen Robinson's implementations of an aquatic management programs to control nuisance algae and aquatic vegetation at Cove Lane Pond, 4224 Main Street, 16 Cove Lane, and 68 Cove Lane, Barnstable, as shown on the Assessors Map 351, parcel 061, 060, and 054. Who is from Water and Wetlands?
Yep, this is Colin Goslin. I'm unable for the next 5 minutes to get a video, but I'm here audio if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yep. So little bit of backstory about the pond. We were contacted late fall last year, and myself did a site visit. I think it was early December. So as you know, there was little vegetation out there, but little history of the pond. Typically over the summertime, it's 100% covered in both vegetation and filamentous algae. Kind of over the years, we've had a lot of, shoreline vegetation encroach into the pond, losing a lot of open water habitat, as well as depth, possibly impeding flow as well. So the client reached out, asking, what could be done to kind of not take back the pond. We're not looking to get rid of any vegetation really on the shoreline other than a few invasives, multiflora, a little bit of mugwort, garlic mustard. But trying to, maintain the vegetation in pond, using like a Floridone product that's been used, in a lot of the ponds in town as, for control of the invasive species, just so the biomass doesn't keep accumulating and, over time lose the pond. But we did get the wetlands delineated. It's not a vernal pool. But, and like I said, we're not trying to, dig up the pond and, take out all the vegetation, but we're just trying to kind of save it and maintain a little bit of open water habitat.
Are you all set?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioner? Bill.
Yeah, I visited the site this morning, and I was actually kind of surprised. I was envisioning a lot of, if you will, lily pads or potamogeton, floating plants and whatnot. And actually, the cover of the application is quite accurate. There's it's like it's not a half an acre, but it's a substantial small pond, if you will. And on its surface is a ton of filamentous algae. And what I did not go in with waders, but I think it's duckweed. Duckweed is a very small floating plant. It's like a third of an inch long, more or less. And it's a vascular plant, but it's very small. So it's kind of looks like algae, if you will. And beyond that, you do have the vegetation growing around the boundary. And for all I know, there could be some submerged aquatic vegetation. Eutrophication is a natural process. It's the aging of a pond. Eventually it fills in. And I do not, it's a philosophical thing. Is this a water feature for homeowners because they like it for its aesthetics? And can we let them just do what they want with herbicides? Or is this a natural process where we want to protect the natural succession of the pond and any dragonflies and amphibians that live there? And so herbicide use is something that I think we want to do, as a really kind of like a last resort. And it's when you end up having boating that has clearly been impacted, where recreation, swimming, for example, and back literally like 45 years ago, I was working with an aquatics firm doing herbicide applications, and I know of what I speak. I've used diquat and copper sulfate and the like for aquatic weed control. And I was thinking, there really is no, fisheries, recreational boating, swimming. It really is an aesthetic thing, I believe. And if it is, in fact, largely duckweed and filamentous algae that's covering this inner circle of open water, rather than using, there's a whole host of chemicals you can dump in there, herbicides, a chelated copper product, an algicide, might be very helpful for knocking down the filamentous algae. And when it comes to duckweed, of which there's a fair amount floating up there, and it's just like imagine a third of an inch long lily pad. I thought, well, what do you do about that? And I went online, and actually, in fact, manual skimming is a legitimate tool, and you can buy for $300 a skimmer that you can pull across the water surface and clear off the Lemna minor or Lemna major, which are the little and large duckweed. You could remove it that way. That would be, I think, a lot more benign treatment than dumping diquat or any number of chemicals, because it's really we're looking at an aesthetic thing. Really, we're not trying to turn this into a boating place or a swimming hole. If you've been there, it's like these are homeowners that just think it's looking like, all covered up in this algae. And so I really am not supportive of using much more than like some kind of algicide for the filamentous algae, and maybe some skimming, because you don't want to kill off all the plants. Because let me just say, if you end up dumping a bunch of herbicides in there, you end up having a lot of the plants die, and you're not getting rid of the organic matter, and they're just going to come back in another year or two, and it's just going to create a lot of very low dissolved oxygen, which then has impacts on the invertebrate life and the amphibians. So I am not in support of this project, but I do think that there might be some lesser effort applied in order to get rid of the filamentous algae and the duckweed. Thanks.
Thanks, Bill. Colin, do you want to make a response? Collins? Colin, do you want to make a response?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, so, I mean,
we lost you.
I agree, with the water meal.
The what?
We kind of in and out lost you, Colin.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, but we did not hear you clearly on what you said in the previous minute.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I agree about there is, duckweed and water meal can flow in with like pretty much any storm that comes in. So, the last time we didn't see it, it was definitely more pond weeds and algae. In regards to the skimming, we've tried that years, but it just comes right back. It doesn't really work. It's very manual labor. You clear the pond out one day, the next day, it comes right back. So that's really tough. In regards to the herbicide use, we wouldn't be using the diquat. Would be using, Floridone, which is it's a very slow acting. It's approved in drinking water reservoirs, used around the state, DCR, Army Corps of Engineers. We do many projects with them. And by no means are we trying to take out all the vegetation. We're just, and like I said previously, it's the pond's kind of closing in. You know, all the vegetation, the biomass has been compiling, you know, over years and years of the pond. And just the homeowners are just noticing it's just, they're losing the pond. And like I said, we're not trying to, you know, excavate and get it back to what it was looking like in the 80s, but they're just they're holding on to the pond, fighting back Mother Nature. Like you said, you know, it's the eutrophication process. You know, they're just hoping it just doesn't turn into a swamp and eventually, you know, just an eyesore in the back of their yards.
Thanks, Golden. Bill, you want to say something? I saw your hands up again.
Well, yeah. Floridone is something that we have approved for Mystic Lake, and it is a relatively safe herbicide. I'll give you that, but at the same time, it is a herbicide that kills a lot of plants, and there's a lot of vegetation all around the sides of this pond, and presumably, you know, under the thing and under the water. And, you know, in a system like that, a little tiny pond that's so full of vegetation all around, I do think you're going to end up having water quality issues. So I don't support the Floridone either. So,
thank you, Bill. Angela?
Yeah, thank you. I'm not an expert in this field, but it's referenced in the packet that you're using the habitat map of the natural heritage and endangered species. And I don't understand why we're not requiring a letter at this point. I'd feel more comfortable if we had that to go with, included all these other details that we're talking about of what you're going to use and the area that you're trying to use it in.
So it's actually outside the area of natural heritage. So it's not required that we need a letter.
And how is that determined?
Through natural heritage. So every NOI that we file, first step is to check with natural heritage to make sure there's no endangered species.
So we have a letter from them that says that it isn't?
No, I mean, in the NOI, we have a map kind of with the outline area.
No, I guess you're misunderstanding my question. You are referencing a map, and I get that, but I don't understand why we're not getting preliminary determination from the map that you are using from them. Why aren't we getting a written response from them that it's not in that area? You're just determining it from where you are, a point on the map.
Yeah, I mean, they don't, if it's outside the map, they don't give any determination.
And they don't give any written response that agreeing that it's outside the map. It's just your interpretation. Okay, I was trying to understand that as I was reading the packet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Angela, that's correct.
Got it.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to completely agree with Dr. Hearn. He's an expert in this field. I myself have a science background and a little bit of limnology at my University of Wisconsin, undergraduate work. Ponds naturally go through this process, especially smaller ponds. This is very different from Mystic Lake, where we had recreational use on that lake, I think for certainly boating and possibly even a little bit of swimming there. I am uncomfortable with a precedent being set where the natural evolution of small ponds, puddles, for aesthetic reasons only are maintained in an open water position that I think will have detrimental effects on the current life forms that are there, both plant, amphibian, and insect. So like Dr. Hearn, at this point, I would have a hard time approving this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Peak.
Hey, Tom, I'd just like to add one last thing, if I could. And that is that this is a volunteer organization, and I'm a volunteer. And as I try to deal with this, you go online and you go, well, what about herbicide use and ponds and where is it used and blah, 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 blah. And they often cite, well, the permitting, it goes to the Conservation Commission. and then there's the DMF or Fish and Wildlife that have their standard, I want to say blather, but there's so many large ponds. I mean, large ponds. Oh, Mystic Lake. But I mean, I used to work in Central Mass doing all kinds of stuff. This is back like 45 years ago. And there's swimming and there's boating and the blah, blah, blah. And what we're dealing with here is really, it's a philosophical thing. If you end up having ponds that slowly go down into becoming almost gone, do you continue to clear? Do you continue? Well, go ahead, just dump the herbicides in. You're gonna, don't try to have a minimal effect. You're just gonna clean it out. It becomes kind of like a water feature, and then it's like, are we allowing essentially a small pond, very tiny pond that's in its last stages, gasping stages? Do we, are we going to not allow the natural course of, ecological succession to take place with the consequent effects on amphibians and insects and the like? And we're just going to go, well, for the homeowner, it's a water feature. We're just going to kill it out and that's okay. We have that power, and yet nobody makes that decision. Nobody. I mean, it's almost like, let the Conservation Commission decide whether dumping herbicides is a good idea. And that's up to us. And it's like, it falls to the Conservation Commissions. Where is it too small, too far gone, where you don't keep going for the water feature effect? I mean, it's really up to us whether we do that or not. And I guess I'm just saying, I don't think so. I think we're at that point here. In the case of, just Red Lily Pond, we were dealing with that. And they have little kayak parades and the like. And it's a huge number of houses that really love this pond. And they're out there waiting around trying to clear it. I mean, that's a different thing. This is like a very rural, little isolated thing that's just like, I don't know. It really is up to us. And it is a philosophical thing. And there is no like hard regulation that says, say no, because that's the way the state is. So I know it's a philosophical thing. Anyway, that's all I have to say. My last comment.
Yeah, and Bill, I just want to, I'm sure you know, but I just do want the commission to know as well that, when we file this NOI, it goes to the circuit riders of the state first, and they didn't have any comment. If you guys were to approve it, it goes to Mass DEP through further review. So there's 3 hurdles in the state that this goes through. So it's not just the Conservation Commission. You guys give the green light, we're good to go, as you know.
Right.
And, it's kind of unfair to, just because someone has a kayak parade, they can manage their pond, yet someone, a nice natural feature in their backyard, and they're not allowed to. So where do we draw the line there? It's kind of tough. And, like we said, we're not trying to take out all the, the vegetation, and, by no means are we hurting any invertebrates in this as well. I'm sure DEP, EPA, if we were to do so, that would be a major issue. So I don't want to set that precedent. But, ultimately it's up to you, but, we're hoping, just to maintain some open water habitat, use EPA approved herbicides, not treat the whole pond, possibly do some, shoreline invasives to help, make sure the pond doesn't have multiflora rows all around the pond. It does have some beneficial natives, would love to keep that. It does have some good buffer, on the property lines for, water runoff, but.
Thank you.
Yep.
Before I go back to the commissions, Ed, what do you think? Do you have any comment on this?
This was filed as an ecological restoration limited project. So there are different sets of rules there. So I would ask the commission, if you're concerned about this, we should probably ask for a continuance and let you look at those regulations a little bit more. If you I mean, under ecological restoration projects, the removal of aquatic nuisance vegetation to impede eutrophication is one of those reasons that the state allows for an ecological restoration project. So, if you need more information, I would suggest you ask for a continuance and see if the applicant is willing to go along with that, so you can have a little bit more time to research that. But
thank you, Ed. John?
John, you're muted. There you go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There you go. Thank you, Tom. Bill, I hear what you say, and I guess you're right. It is a philosophical difference, but I look at state regulations. I look at myself as a homeowner. I look at the company that is presenting this, their history, their professionalism in managing these. And I guess philosophically, Bill, I'd come out on the other side of the equation. I think this is a marvelous professional company that's put together a long, detailed analysis. Obviously, I'd require monitoring, et cetera, but honestly, I'd lean in favor of it. That's where I'm coming from.
Thanks, John. Pete?
Yeah, I'm just going to address sort of the hurdles after conservation. I think in my 22 or 3 years on conservation, I don't think I've ever seen DEP or any other state agency say no to something that we've said okay to. So as Bill mentioned, the Conservation Commission for local towns is where the buck stops. And I'm certainly willing to rethink about an ecological restoration, but I'm having trouble with it. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
If I may, just one other thing. So, just with any of these projects, if you would go the route of denying, remember you have to have legitimate reasons under the act with which you are denying the project. So, while I totally agree with what you're saying, Bill and Pete, it's a small pond. Ponds get shalloh, they get vegetated, they fill in eventually and become small bogs and swamps. But I as much as I personally would say I don't like the idea, I'd like to leave it alone. I just don't know that there's a reason from a regulatory standpoint, and I tend to agree with what John was saying, is that it's from a homeowner standpoint, I can understand why they're doing this as well. So,
right. Okay, Angela.
Yeah. Best management practices. How am I to decide who to trust in this case? Is, I guess, the question I have. It's not philosophical at all. We're trying to allow this to happen. I'm not against this application. We're just here to try to decide what the best management practices are, and I'm very confused on that, so I actually would like a continuation for that. However, if all the other commissioners feel that this is in the best interest and this is the best people to go with, and then I'll go along with it. But that's where I'm kind of feeling like, as an ecological project, I've spent a lot more time reading about the ones that came in the past. I really didn't know how to look at this one till right now. Maybe that's my bad, but I just thought I'd say that so the applicant had at least to hear where I'm coming from. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. So, Bill, you want to say a last word?
Yeah. I said last. I mentioned Red Lily Pond, and I mentioned the kayak, and Colin came back and said, well, if it's only for a kayak thing, but also Red Lily Pond has fish. They have a plan for herring restoration. There are people fishing there. So it's, I mentioned the kayak, but there's also other recreational resources involved in that. As for regulatory impacts and reasons why you would not want to do it, you end up having the literal ecological impact of killing off, because of low dissolved oxygen, because you're going to have a lot of potential rotting vegetation at the bottom of the of this pond. You know, that's an impact. To suggest that you're not going to have an impact on the insects seems to me far-fetched. So there is some ecological damage, and I do think that Ed's suggestion that we look again at the ecological restoration angle again is a wise one. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. First of all, I'm an engineer. I'm not in the wetland restorations expertise and knowledge, stuff like that. But listen to all the testimony on this one. The way that I'm thinking is that in the proposal itself, it mentioning about a lot of stuff that can be done or cannot be done or should not be done, that sort of thing. But so it's not quite defined as what they want actually to do. How much herbicide or where to apply for herbicide or algicide stuff, that is not clear in this application as far as I'm concerned. That, if Colin can come back with more specific protocol and how to do what he wants to do in the ponds, I think that would give us a more clear directions in terms of looking at the ecological restorations and how we can compare with the performance on that one. Is that a possible thing, or is that reasonable?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's reasonable. Yeah, we could, come back. We did, kind of laid out kind of what we wanted to do in the NOI. There was a alternatives analysis, as you probably, I think that's what you may be talking about.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah. So yeah, we could do that.
So if you come back with more information, how much time do you need it for a continuance?
When's the next meeting?
Our next meeting is 18th.
A week.
Yeah, we could probably put something together.
Just for your information, I will be unable to attend the meeting of the 18th, if that makes any difference to anybody.
Okay.
But and I will be unable to attend the meeting. I actually have an educational class that night.
The two best commissioners.
All I'm asking for is who's going to apply the application, a little more information in this project. I don't really think, if you guys are already saying you're leaning towards it, you being absent isn't going to me, affect it one way or the other. I think we're all asking for just more information as a commission as to who's the applicant, who's doing the application of the herbicide, how long will it be? I just feel like in the past when I've done these, I've gotten more information than I got in this one.
And also, Angela, I think with Tom's request, we go towards answering your question of, quote, what is best management practices?
Right. So I think we're all in agreement as to why we would want it continued, not that we're looking towards the denial and we would need you two's vote, but I don't want to speak for you two the next meeting. If it needs to go to what, is it going to be September 8th would be the one after that?
Yeah. Colin, how about September the 8th? That would give you a little bit more time and then provide the additional information so that we have a chance to look at that, to review it that before September the 8th. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's fine.
Okay. Could I have a motion to continue the application to September the 8th?
Excuse me, Tom, did you go to public?
Oh, sorry. Channel 18, any public comment on this one?
Good evening. There were a few people that were on about this item. So we have Estelle Colgan. Estelle, did you have any comments you wanted to make?
What's your name, Estelle?
Hi, I'm one of the homeowners. All I can say is I appreciate your taking the time to consider this. I mean, it is a very sweet pond. Everyone on the street drives by, and when I've spoken with the neighbors in the last few weeks, they've said it would be so nice if we could keep it. So it's not just the three of us, the three families that are applying. The neighborhood feels the same way. Just want to say that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we also had Madison Ambrosi. Madison, did you have any comments?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm
You're frozen.
Actually with water and wetlands, so I've been jotting notes down. I'm the new permit coordinator. I just recently filled that role. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear in terms of the continuance and the amendments that you guys would like to see. So I have written down who would be applying the herbicide, specifically best management practices, and kind of a timeline of treatment. Is there anything else that you guys would like added to the NOI application, just so I'm aware?
I think
Madison, I would say also, since if you're going to be saying who, you might as well include their applicator's license as well, because we're going to ask for that in the order of conditions.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Can I jump into that too, Tom?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
One of the things when I read this, and it was Bill, it was very difficult for me to read through this whole thing, but when I read it, that it said that if necessary, we're going to use this herbicide. Here's how we're going to use it. I think following Angela, to the extent you can define that, would be very helpful. I think to Angela and I, at least.
Yeah, thank you.
More or less like the way that I'm thinking is like more or less like a protocol. What you want to do step by step, then we can follow you as far as, you know, what is your next step be in terms of doing what? Because in the NOI right now, you're kind of mentioning, oh yeah, we would do a proposed shoreline watershed best management practices, but what does that mean? And then, you know, where do we want to apply for the herbicide or algicide, and for how long, that kind of thing that we need kind of filling the meat a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
And Tom, even with that, you know, if it was otherwise approved, you could say, listen, if you had to modify this, you go back to the staff. If you had to modify that protocol, because I know it's a learn as you go along.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not a lock-in. Well, speaking for myself, it's not a do this or else, but it would be this is the protocol. You know, if you have to modify that protocol, you got to go back to Conservation Division. And at least that's how I would say it.
Right.
Okay, perfect. I know we had mentioned in the NOI kind of label restrictions and timelines associated with those. So also just a timeline of treatment, what we're looking at.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Is it going to be a one-time thing, or you're looking for a couple years down the road for the treatment, that sort of stuff?
I'm so sorry. I think my internet cut out.
You're all set.
What I'm saying though is when you're talking about the treatment, is that a 1-year deal, or are you doing it apply for the multiple year to keep track of the planting the planting in the area, whether it's effective or not, and then you can decide whether you need to do the 2nd year or the 3rd year.
Okay, perfect. I'll outline our monitoring schedule as well. Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay, and then one last thing. I mean, I assume you're going to have to get a WMO4 permit from DEP.
Yep, that's on our to-do list.
But you have not done that yet, right?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, all right. We'll just put a condition on it. Should they approve, that condition would be that you provide a copy of that permit before you proceed. So.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more public comment, Channel 18?
No, that was all we had. Thank you.
Okay. Could I have a motion to continue these applications to September the 8th?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn. Aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Tampu.
Aye.
Tangney.
Aye.
And that is unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
The next NOI is Keith McManus, proposed patio, retaining walls, and other landscaping improvement to existing developed property at 310 Hollich Hill Lane, Marston's Mill, as shown on the Assessors Map 081, Parcel 009. Who's representing the homeowner? Dan.
Dan Ojala.
Dan?
Yeah. Good evening, Chairman Lee, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Dan Ojala. I'm a land surveyor. I'm also a civil engineer with Down Cape Engineering in Yarmouthport, and helping out with permitting here of a a patio, retaining walls, and other landscape improvements. This is at 310 Holledge Hill Lane in Marston's Mills. I'll share my screen so you can look at that. This is the site plan, which our firm prepared. This is a 44,000 square foot lot. It's kind of a cool area. It's out between Middle and Hamlin Pond. They're both great ponds, and it's an older development dating from the 70s. It's a single family where there's a little bit of you can see NHESP habitat fringing the ponds and comes onto the lot a little bit, but none of the work that we're doing is within NHESP habitat. The wetlands were flagged by Paul Shea, Independent Environmental Consulting. There's a silt fence already up on the site. There was some work that was permitted inside the dwelling. They expanded it kind of unknowingly outside, and that was flagged by staff. They were issued a notice to file, and so that's why we're here. They were going to propose, or historically there was a walkway down in this area. I think they replaced it with brick is what happened. But in any event, because it was a little bit somewhat undocumented, we decided to remove that. So you can see in the mitigation calculations that there was 95 square foot of walkway. And again, I believe that was rebuilt from a much older walkway, looking at some aerials back to 2012 and much older. But in any event, you're going down 95 square foot in the 0 to 50. 50 to 100, you're looking at only about 155 square foot of basically the house isn't increasing, but you've got a little bit on the deck, a little bit of walkway, and a little bit of patio, not very much increase over what's there now. So net, we owe you 85 square foot of mitigation. We did about 150 down. There's a very low area. There was an old shed and a historically cleared area down near the pond. So we thought that would be a good area to bring in some high bush blueberry. Those will stand up tall and be a nice little frame in that corner. We didn't show any monuments around those, but again, that's a large bush. I think it's really self-evident that that will be a good mitigation area. And so our narrative went through the Barnstable bylaw and affects, I think that this was a reasonable solution. And the owner looks forward to working with you to bring this to a closure with a certificate of compliance once the work is done. Be glad to answer any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. I'm looking for a revised plan to show the dimension of the proposed hardscape, the proposed patio area. And I know you kind of mentioned about that mitigation area in that corner there. I'm thinking of demarcation that mitigation area. And then there is a proposed wall, proposed retaining wall. So I need to know the top of the wall elevations. So those are the kind of thing that I'm looking for. But as far as the demarcations, Ed, do you think that we need it for that area?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, it's a very small mitigation area. And I would think you should still put the demarcation on it just to call it out. I don't know that we necessarily need 3 full years of monitoring reports for that. I think we can just, if they would just plant it and then submit essentially photographs of the planted area, and then maybe one after a year after, that would be sufficient.
Okay. Thanks, Ed. Any question from the commissioner?
Yeah, I do, Tom.
Angela.
Dan, since I saw the project and you had great pictures here, I'm trying to understand how you have enough mitigation when all of the old hardscape is already torn up, so that you're going by what was there before they started building and didn't get permission with an NOI. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, yeah, we actually physically located it, and then they were then removed it. So we have a good location of what was there, but you know, and that was again. Here's just for your knowledge, this is going back to 2012. There's a pretty significant walkway in that area, and there's a couple other steppers down beside that there. So we were able to get that.
That's your 95 square feet that you used.
Exactly, yeah. So that's all gone now, and we know you don't like stuff in the 50s, so it was a pretty simple process to get
right.
that.
It's all gone. There's nothing there in the 50 now. It's all dug up from the construction. So that's why I couldn't figure out how you figured out was enough. But that explains it. My second question is, how did we determine that's the right and best placement for the mitigation?
Well, high bush blueberry is a nice plant for the pollinators, for the birds, and it's proximate to a nice established buffer in the northeast corner there. Obviously, it just seemed like a reasonable place. I know, and again, it's sort of. Well, that was our thought, that it would look nice in there and tie in with a wider buffer along College Hill Road rather than, be out in the middle, sticking out like a sore thumb or something.
Right. Or to the far left where that walk used to go. Are you planning on putting another walk there now?
No, they'll simply walk on the. As far as we're not asking permission to put any steppers back there. We don't think there's enough foot traffic to warrant them, but if there is, we'd come back. But it's not a particularly steep slope.
Right. And I'm actually looking at right by the water's edge where on your map it has the NHESP priority habitat printed.
Yeah.
It's right there is where I would have thought to put the mitigation plantings. That's just my asking why you didn't put them there.
Oh, because then we have to file with NHESP.
Oh, is that why? Okay. Thank you for being honest. Got it. Okay. You answered all my questions. Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Angela. Any other question from the commissioner? Seeing none. 10:18, any public comment on this one?
Yes, Mr. Jacobson, if you have some comments, now is your opportunity to speak.
Okay, thank you. I just have two questions. I'm in a direct abutter on the property to the left. And I just wanted to know if there are
what is the street address?
340 College Hill Lane.
Okay.
So my first question is, are there any plans to remove any trees or other vegetation to complete the project?
So this is Dan from Downcape Engineering, through the chair. No, we're working within existing landscape cleared areas. There was some disturbance of that, the scrubs that's on the hill there that's been there forever. So that would be, but I think we've disturbed everything we need to disturb on the site right now.
Okay, so you don't expect any more. The next question is it contemplated that a lawn irrigation system will be used on the backside of the property adjacent to Middle Pond within the 50-foot buffer zone?
Yeah, I don't think there's any changes to anything proposed down there, so that would all stay the same.
What does that mean, stay the same?
We're not asking permission to put in an irrigation system. If there's one there, it would probably stay, to avoid, scalding in drought periods.
Okay, thank you.
10:18, any other public comment on this one?
That was it.
That was it? Okay. Let me try this and see how it goes. Could I have a motion to approve this project subject to the receipt of a revised plan showing the dimensions of the proposed patio and the top of the retaining wall elevations and demarcations of the mitigation area, and one report in 2 years after 1 year after the planting of the mitigation planting area?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn, aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
Gagné.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Excellent. Appreciate your consideration. We'll get the revised plan right in. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is Mark Out and Catherine Gingrich Bryant to demolish the existing dwelling, remove cottage, and construct a dwelling and all associated premises at 361 Huckaneck Road, Sanderville, as shown on the Assessors Map 233, Parcel 043. The applicant has requested for a continuance without testimony to September the 8th. Could I have a motion to continue this application without testimony to September the 8th?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Earn. Aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Sampu.
Aye.
Cagney.
Aye.
That's unanimously approved.
Thank you. The last NOI is the Center Lakeview Trust to install a swimming pool at 152 Lakeview Drive, Centerville, as shown on the Assessors Map 214, Parcel 042. Who is representing the homeowner here?
Tom Bunker.
Oh, Tom Bunker.
Yeah.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, I'm through, for the record, my name is Tom Bunker. I'm a land surveyor with BSS Design in Falmouth. And we were hired to prepare this plan to permit a swimming pool. This property, if I'll share my screen.
Yes, please.
I'm just going to take a second. No.
Coming up. No, you're doing a wrong one. This is sort of like a Zoom meeting.
Oops.
You may have a second monitor.
I do have a second monitor, yeah, and that's okay. I'll stop the share here. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, one problem, I don't have the I get into these things. Hold on. Share that one. No. I do have a second monitor. I got to get. I don't know how to get.
Is it the one that highlighted the site plan? Is that the one?
Well, I'll try. Share this one then. Okay, well, this is actually the approved. The house was built, was permitted in 2006. In this location here, the house and just point out that there was a garage approved at the time, and they referenced in the narrative the amphitheater like construction that was not built. The garage and this were not built, and so this property is remain this way. Those are not built. The order has expired, and no compliance was requested. Our plan now is the existing conditions, you can see, is the house without a garage and this other amphitheater kind of thing that would go up in this location here. And we have the licensed dock, a sandy beach, and this was on the 2006 plan as existing, and it was on the plan when the dock and pier got licensed also, and the BVW flagged by Marsh Matters, Michael Ball, is as shown in 2006 on the plan. What we're proposing is a swimming pool back here, more or less where the garage was permitted 20 years ago. And with the patio around it. And it is, so the pool, we have the 50-foot buffer from the BVW runs through here. The patio is 22 feet back, so it's 72 feet from the BVW. I have a dimension here, 89 feet to the corner of this pool patio from the line of Waquaquet Lake. That's the work that's being proposed. And we have in here, there's 925 square feet of the pool and patio combined. There's 30 square feet of some hardscape in this area to be removed. So we have a total increase in coverage of 895 square feet within the 50 to 100 area. So tripled is, I don't know why that was taken out twice, but tripled is 2685 square feet, which we have shown in here. A shrub, we have high bush, Viburnum dentatum, 71 of them, 14 high bush blueberry, red chokeberry, 33 summer sweet, and also 6 shadbush, which are actually small trees. Pasture rose, we've put up a little line of them as a little more decorative thing here. All the other shrubs go along here, actually filling in the understory under some trees in this location. And at the bottom of the bank, 100 square foot pollinator garden at the bottom of the bank also. The bank itself in this area we have proposed as switchgrass. There's 900 square feet of switchgrass, which I think is good to hold a bank, good root structure to hold that in. So we have this mitigation on here, and some lawn. So a lot of this mitigation is in lawn. So there's a reduction in lawn across here, but also a little bit of lawn put back in here. We also have 6 green giant arborvitae across here for screening against that north property line. The pool equipment is back in this location. So that's the project. I will unshare now and then take questions.
Okay. Tom, I probably need a revised plan to show the dimensions of the patio. I know you mark out the proposed swimming pool is 15 by 34, but there's no dimensions on the patio, the length and the width and that sort of thing.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
And I also need a demarcation line for the mitigation area. So you need to put that onto the plan. And because of the mitigations, we're probably looking at an annual report for 3 years.
Excuse me, one thing. What do you mean by demarcation line for the mitigation? Dimension somewhere? Or?
No. Just to delineate that mitigations line, the mitigation line, so that you have some demarcation, like a stone.
Oh, physically, okay, yeah.
Fence and that sort of stuff to isolate. Sure. And this is the area that you're not going to cut into it and mowing it and that sort of thing.
Understood. Thank you.
And I'm missing anything else, Ed?
No, I want to make sure are you looking to continue this to receive a revised plan? Is that the idea?
So I could adding some dimensions. I can get to you real quick.
Well, let's do this for the based on the receipt of the revised. We approve it and based on the receipt of the revised plan. It should be very simple. This one.
Yeah, you really need to continue it.
Yeah. Okay, Angela.
Yeah, and if we're going to continue it, I'd like to ask if the mitigation we looked at. The bank is lush and green. I don't understand why we're putting mitigation on actually the bank. couldn't it go along the bottom of the bank or at the top of the bank? And you're definitely removing the gravel and putting something in under where the kayaks were down by the water. I just want to see more in the resource area. It seemed to me like your mitigation plan you're tearing up what's already green and lush and holding that bank back, and you're putting more in there rather than in other places, because you have a lot of land down below the bank that you could put them in. That's all I would like to suggest in your revised plan.
Yeah, I guess when we surveyed it, looked at it, it wasn't very lush and green on that bank, but I guess it must have come up nicely.
Well, did any other commissioners see it? The bank is totally green, lush, and grown in. I don't understand why we'd put any mitigation there, but that's just my opinion. I'm one of 7.
Thank you, Angela. Bill?
Yeah, I visited the site, and the steep slope there, it is vegetated, but I noticed that it's kind of this, I don't know how to, kind of a sparse grass-like thing. And the homeowner was there, and he described it as, I think he called it seagrass, and I didn't know what it was. And so I was looking at, switchgrass. What would switchgrass do? And switchgrass will grow 3 to 6 feet, and it can be really bushy and can really fill in. And I thought, that would probably be better than, because there was a lot of like sand in between the so-called seagrass, whatever it was. So I guess I'm in favor of what you've done there with that bank. I think it will improve it. That being said, you have the mitigation on the I don't know what. If you're looking at the lake on the left side of the house, you've got a strip that's going right up to the 100-foot buffer, and trying to essentially protect the resource area, which is, the lake, the pond. I wonder if you might not take the area of mitigation plantings that are between the 50 and the 100 and instead put it right along the base of that steep slope there with the switchgrass and the pollinator garden are. Would that be unreasonable? You know what I mean? Because that
I do know. Yeah,
the 0 to 50.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Of course, that was the request of the homeowner to tuck it out of the way. But if it would be a requirement, I know what you mean exactly, and I can.
There is a fairly large safety area that is there. I mean, it's quite extensive, and just filling in a strip along the base of that very steep bank would probably be a better use of the mitigation planting. I don't know how other commissioners feel.
If that seems to be a requirement, I can do that.
Yeah. Okay, John?
Yeah, this commissioner would agree with Bill. I think I can understand why the homeowner wants it, but I think from an environmental point of view, what Bill is suggesting is far superior, and I would support that. So I would request that you submit a revised plan showing that mitigation location change.
That would make me happy too. Thank you.
Do we want to come back, or do we want to just approve the revised plan with staff reviewing it?
My own view is Ed can take a look at it. If he has any questions, he can force it back.
Yeah, staff is fine with me.
Okay. But 10:18, any public comment on this one?
No.
No. Okay. Could I have a motion to approve this project subject to the receipt of a revised plan showing the dimension of the patios, the demarcation lines, and the revised mitigation planting area, as we discussed with, as Bill was mentioning that.
One more, Danielle.
The ending report for 3 years.
So moved.
Quick one.
Second.
Roll call.
Cabadilli.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn. Aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Tampu.
Aye.
Tagney.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We have one amended orders. Julie Wolf, to amend order of conditions to install a buried propane tank under existing lawn at 268 Indian Trail, Barnstable, as shown in Assessors Map 337, parcel 024. Who is representing the homeowner on this one?
That'll be Lauren.
Yep.
Lauren?
Yep. Good evening. For the record, Lauren Taylor with Crawford Land Management. I believe the property owner, Paul Sullivan, is on the call as well, just to help answer any questions. This permit was originally issued back in January of this year for a few site improvements and associated mitigation and some invasive species management work. At this point, they're just looking for permission to install a buried propane tank. The tank would be 500 gallons and it would be on a concrete slab with corner tie downs. It's just to the east of the dwelling in an area that's currently existing lawn. So there's no vegetation removal associated with it. And once the tank is in, the lawn would be reseeded. So it's pretty straightforward, but if there's any questions about it, we're happy to help answer those.
Thank you, Lawrence. Any questions from the commissioner? Seeing none. Any public comment on this one? Channel 18.
There's no public comment at this time.
Could I have a motion to approve this amended order?
So move.
Second.
On roll call.
Tangney.
Aye.
Shampoo.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Kashulik.
Aye.
Hearn, aye. DeMello.
Aye.
Abadili.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks.
We have two sets of minutes, July the 14th and July the 21st.
Bill, you can make the motion to accept the minutes.
I can make the motion to accept the minutes.
We're sharing. I didn't know.
Is that how it's done?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is your big chance, Bill. Go for it.
I did it, right?
So you make the motions. Anyone second?
I second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn, aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Shampoo.
Aye.
Tangney.
Aye.
And the minutes are accepted.
Thank you. The next hearing is August the 18th at 6:30. And could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Abadili.
Aye.
DeMello.
Aye.
Hearn, aye. Kashulik.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Shampoo.
Aye.
And Tangney.
Aye.
And the meeting is closed at 5:42. 42 is right.
Tom, it looks like
Good night.
both Pete and I will not be at that next